Cheryl Dell, Dean of the School of Business at Carey University. On behalf of Carey University, I would like to welcome you to the 2020 Small Business Leadership Award Luncheon. Thank you for participating in today's virtual event, recognizing the importance of small businesses to our area. I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about the School of Business. The School of Business offers majors in Business Administration and Cross-Cultural Business Management, along with a Master of Business Administration. Students who major in Business Administration choose concentrations in accounting, computer information systems, finance, international business, management marketing, or workforce training and development. Both graduate and undergraduate programs are offered on our Hattiesburg campus as well as our traditional campus. In addition to that, our MBA program is offered in a 100% online format. In 2016, programs in the School of Business were accredited by the International Accreditation Council for Business Education. In addition to students from the Pinebelt area, we have students from a number of other states, as well as a number of other countries. Students in the School of Business are actively involved in campus activities as well as community activities. You've probably seen our students actively involved in community service, networking events, and internships. We appreciate your support of our students. Today's Small Business Leadership Award Luncheon recognizes the contribution of one special business to our community. The Small Business Leadership Award Luncheon, which began in 1990, is a special cooperative endeavor between Carey University and the Area Development Partnership. This program began in 1990 and is given in honor of Dr. Joe Roberts, a former professor of communication at Carey University, a small business owner and co-founder of ACOT Roberts Furniture. Again, thank you for participating in today's event.
Good morning, guys. On behalf of the ADP, our president, Chad Newell, and our board of directors, my name is Todd Jackson. I'm the executive vice president here at the ADP, and we are extremely excited to everyone that has joined us virtually today to recognize the importance of small business in our community. We've all heard the saying that small businesses are the backbone of America, the backbone of our community. But when you truly think about it, the friends that we have, the folks we go to church with, the people that are sponsoring the ball teams, the folks that are sponsoring golf tournaments, I mean, just everywhere you turn, it is small businesses that are truly making the largest impact collectively here in our community. So our team here at the ADP, both on the chamber and economic development side, works so hard to help every one of our small business members thrive in the best way possible. So we are excited about the program today. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to take one small second of personal privilege and thank Ms. Valencia Williamson, who is leaving our team here at the ADP to become the president and CEO of Clayton County Chamber, just south of Atlanta. Wonderful opportunity for Valencia in terms of small business here in Hattiesburg. I just want to say a personal thanks to her for her 10 years of service to this community, serving small businesses in this community. She has just been such an incredible hard worker and a great friend. And if we were all together in person today, I know there would be a large room of applause and standing ovations today for Valencia. So V, thank you so much for being the absolutely incredible person that you have been over the last decade and through my 6 years here at the ADP. So with that, we are going to start the program, and I would love to turn it over to Dr. Ben Burnett, the Executive Vice President at Carey University.
Good morning, everybody, and on behalf of Dr. Tommy King, who you might be able to see behind me in my office, joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to welcome you, not literally to the campus of Carey University, but to Carey University. We're proud that we'll be able to continue this long-standing tradition, actually in a new and improved way. So it's my blessing and privilege to offer our invocation for our meal, but also for our program. So if you'll join me where you are as we go to prayer. Our Father, we come to you today with thankful hearts for the grace and love that you continually show us. We're especially thankful today for the men and women who have committed their lives to serve our community by offering their time and their talents to provide so many needed services for our area. We pray a specific blessing on them as they navigate this difficult time and ask that you continue to bless their work in the future. Thank you for this food we're all about to receive and for the countless blessings you've given us. Help us personally to be a beacon of light and a beacon of justice to all around us so we can reflect the love of Jesus to everyone we encounter. We pray this in your Son's holy and precious name. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. You know I'm excited to be here today. I want to also thank the ADP, William Carey University, for the Small Business Luncheon Award today. This has been a year like no other for me, and I'm sure it has been the same for you as well. And so it goes for this event. This event has been like no other we've ever tried to put together, but it has truly been amazing. And for this reason, I want to first of all thank Dr. Tommy King and Mr. Chad Newell for giving us the opportunity to break this new ground and to try this event in a new way. While there has been so many pieces to this event, the one aspect that I have just fallen in love with to make this event so much more special is the fact that there are no walls that bind us. I could sell 20 tables at the top of Tatum, 35 tables at Southern Oaks, but there are no walls to stop me here. We've got 42 virtual windows right now open with people at each one watching this particular program today. And for this, I am so excited. Much prayer and consideration went into this event before we started, because 2 months ago, when we first shut down everything, my heart was truly heavy because there were so many small businesses that were closed for so long and restaurants that were not able to reopen. Since this event has existed in 1990, the small business and restaurant community, as so many have alluded before me, has been the backbone of the Greater Pinebelt area, and they were hurting. And when they hurt, we hurt. So we had to find a way to try to do something different. So with Chad Newell, the ADP, and Dr. King and the advancement team at William Carey University, which consists of Dick Vogel, Dean Pace, Chris Adams, Jennifer Frerage, and Sheila Brown, we will keep this tradition going. We will find a way to support our small businesses and restaurants in the Greater Pinebelt area. And we are so grateful for the sponsors who have taken on this challenge this year. And they are Economy Supply, Coca-Cola United, Keesler Federal Credit Union, and Owens Business and Machines. So with them, we want to say thank you so very much. Each one of you, when you received your meal, should have received a little red bag. And in that red bag is a program for today's events for you to follow, as well as pins and little things from Carey that we want to say thank you. We want to thank all the restaurants who have delivered all the meals, especially in this weather today. Another aspect for us is that we got to stay in. But we do want to thank those restaurants who got out in this weather and delivered our meals to us today. I want you to know that this is just the beginning. You've heard me say it many times. We are strong because we're Carey strong. We thank all of you who are here today and who have participated today, because without you, we could not do this. Thank you for being Hattiesburg strong.
Hi, my name is Dean Pace. I'm the Annual Fund Director here at William Carey University. Every year at the Small Business Leadership Awards Luncheon, we like to award a scholarship called the Richard Pepper Jones Scholarship. Richard Jones was a local entrepreneur and a great advocate for education. Please join me in giving a huge virtual congratulations to this year's recipient, Alexandria Newell. Congratulations, Alexandria.
The sponsors of this year's Small Business Leadership Award Luncheon are giving 2 $1,000 scholarships to students in the School of Business. These students have been selected based upon their moral character, their determination in completing tasks, and a work ethic that will lead to success in business. The first student receiving a scholarship is Caitlin Gorey, a senior business administration student from Hattiesburg. The second student receiving a scholarship is Anthony Bullock, a senior business administration student from Brooklyn. Congratulations to these students. At this time, Dr. King will give a presentation to this year's recipient of the Small Business Leadership Award.
We're honored each year to recognize small business leaders in our community, and this year is no different. We come to recognize Doleac Electric Company. Doleac was founded by Mr. Malcolm Doleac in 1947, and for most of his lifetime was a residential electric contractor. After his death in 1972, Larry and Donnie took over the leadership of the company, and in the 1980s, they transitioned into commercial electrical contracting work, and the company has had remarkable growth from about $500,000 in the 80s to more than 40 million now. And these are the kind of leaders that make our city what it is today. And we're so proud of them and congratulate them on receiving the Small Business Leadership Award for the year 2000.
Thank you very much, Dr. King. Thank you very much. We appreciate this award. It's quite an honor for us as individuals, as well as our company and all the people that have worked in our organization to get us to where we are today. We consider every one of them family, and we thank you very much. Sure. I just want to reiterate what Donnie said. We've been very fortunate over the years to have some great people working with us. Most of our people started out with us very young. We got employees that's been with us over 40 years. If it wasn't for those kind of people, we wouldn't be getting this award. We wouldn't be where we are right now. So thank you very much for recognizing that, Dr. King. We certainly appreciate it, and it's a great honor for us. If I could just add one thing, I think our dad would be very proud also. Sure.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm Chad Newell, president of the Area Development Partnership. It's great to have you guys on the Zoom today, and it's wonderful to once again be partnering with Carey University. Many thanks to Dr. King and Dr. Houston and Dr. Burnett and Breeland and the entire team at Carey. We are very appreciative of the partnership. Our partnership is very long-standing, going back to 1990. With this Small Business Leadership Award. You know, small businesses are certainly the lifeblood of the economy here in Greater Hattiesburg. So it's always just so significant and such an honor to be able to honor one small business in particular each year who has really stood out amongst their peers. And so I would also like to give a special congratulatory remarks to Donnie and Larry and the entire Doleac Electric team. These guys do an amazing job in the commercial, industrial, and military electrical side of the business world. They are renowned and just so well known and so well respected. For a company to be able to exist since 1947, but not only exist, as you heard Dr. King say, their revenues have skyrocketed through the years, but that came day after day of rolling up their sleeves, going out into the field, building relationships, and performing the electrical work at a very high level of service. So many thanks to Donnie and Larry. They have also been very involved in our community in various ways. I know that Larry has been a staunch supporter of youth baseball, and if Larry calls, get ready to get your checkbook out for some sponsorship related to that. But that's always very exciting. And And Donnie has been very involved with us here at the Area Development Partnership. In fact, he was a longstanding board member and served on our executive committee of the ADP. And that's what makes our organization tick. Volunteers coming together, serving, and all for the betterment of Greater Hattiesburg. It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker today. And our keynote speaker is one of the newest and youngest members in the state legislature. We are so excited to have Kent Mccarty, Representative Mccarty, joining us today. Kent is a lifelong resident of Lamar County. He's a product of the Lamar County School District from kindergarten through graduation, so went all the way through. That's great, Kent. I've had 3 kids in that system, and it's a very good system. Kent is the son of Morgan and Angela Mccarty. We know his dad, Morgan, from the economic development side of the house, because Morgan leads the Regions Bank Loan Ops Center in West Hattiesburg in Lamar County. And that particular facility is ramping up now to 420 jobs here in the community. So that's exciting. And his mom's a principal at Longleaf Elementary. So there's a rich tradition of education there with Kent. At the age of 19, Kent opened the first location of Java Mo's Coffee Company in Oak Grove. He went on to attend the University of Southern Mississippi as a presidential scholar, where he graduated with a degree in finance. He continued to grow and expand Java Mo's during that time. The business now employs more than 50 people and will soon see its 5th location open under Kent's leadership and direction. He has served on the board of the Pinebelt Foundation for 4 years as a member of the development committee, where he has taken part in community outreach and fundraising. Since opening Java Mo's, Kent has worked to ensure that the business maintains an active presence in the community, often sponsoring local events and encouraging employees to volunteer and serve. He is passionate about addressing issues and seeing projects and commitments through to completion. He is a business owner, a homeowner, and has spent his life building relationships in this community. His roots here run deep. He is committed to serving this district, whether by fundraising for disaster relief efforts, handing out a steaming cup of coffee at a local race, or by representing District 101 in the state capitol as your representative. I also want to congratulate Kent on getting his first bill passed through the Mississippi legislature. It's entitled the Learn to Earn Act. And what a great bill, because it creates opportunities for internships and apprenticeships in area high schools and high schools throughout the state. And kids can sign up for these internships and apprenticeships and get wonderful quality opportunities to learn with companies prior to graduating. And they now get credit. They get credits in high school for that. So Kent, congratulations on seeing that education is forever connected to economic development and the prosperity of the region. Without further ado, I will turn it over to our state representative, Kent Mccarty. Kent?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Chad, for that introduction. And thank you all for having me here. I'm really excited to be here, even if it is virtually. I hate that we can't all be together, but I would like to, obviously give kudos to Dr. Houston and everybody who's worked hard to make this happen, despite the interesting circumstances that we're in right now. Obviously, if you guys just saw that picture of me that was up, you can tell that the coronavirus has definitely affected my trips to the barbershop. So apologies for the longer hair. It has been a while since I made a visit, but I'm just trying to keep responsible with my social distancing and practice to walk the walk and practically talk. So as Chad mentioned, I'm the representative for District 101 and a small business owner in the Hattiesburg community, Java Mo's. This is my first term in the legislature, and what a term it has been. So I kind of wanted to talk to everyone today about kind of how the coronavirus, how this pandemic has affected small business from both from the perspective of the legislator, working to try to respond to this, but also as a small business owner who's had to kind of adapt to the rapidly changing environment that doesn't really, we don't show signs of slowing right now. So as Chad mentioned, in my first term, I serve on the several committees, but one of them that I'm super proud of is education. I'm the vice chair of the education committee. So I've been the last couple of weeks, and I'm actually taking a break from this right now to be with all you today, but we've been working on our coronavirus response bill using our CARES Act money in education. So it has definitely, again, been a very interesting session, and this week has been crazy, and I'm sure next week will be crazy as well. But we are adapting, as we all are. We're even in Jackson, government moves slowly, but we are adapting as quickly as possible to this ever-changing situation, trying to make sure that we address all the issues that are facing the state right now. So again, like I said, I wanted to talk to everybody first as a legislator and just kind of let you know where things are looking, or how the state's economy is looking, what we're doing for small businesses. And then I did want to circle back and I appreciate Chad for mentioning my Learn to Earn bill, but not really related to coronavirus or small business, but still a very good thing for our community. So I'll talk about that as well. So right now, as we kind of look, we're in the budget season in Jackson, and the good news is, if we need to find any good news, and we always need to look for that silver lining, the good news is that we're not going to be as bad off as we thought we were just a couple of weeks ago. Early on, I think there were estimates from our state economists and our budget officers, our chief revenue officer, that we could see losses of $800 million to $1 billion this year based on what our budget estimates were. Thankfully, it does not look like it's going to be anywhere near that severe, which is great, because that's the difference in a 10 to 12% cut across the board and something much more palatable, which would be 3 to 4 to 5%. What we've actually been able to do, and I have the most recent estimate here, which again, it's just kind of amazing to look at when we're thinking $800 million beneath our estimate. We're estimating that we're going to come in at about $200 million below where we thought we'd be. Still a huge sum. Definitely still hurts, and definitely gonna create some pain along the way, but much easier to stomach than an $800 million shortfall. And it actually will hopefully allow us to level fund most of our agencies, particularly, as I mentioned, as Vice Chair of Education and as someone who thinks education is the most important aspect of the government's role. I think us continuing to fund education where we have is going to be very, very critical, because there's going to be long-term implications from all this, just in the education space as well, that students have been home for months, and while instruction has continued to a degree, it's certainly a less conducive environment whenever students are doing virtual learning. In some districts don't have any virtual. They're picking up packets and learning at home, and it is not, that's definitely going to have long-term effects. So as we've kind of worked on that, I've been really happy, as in my position, to continue to advocate for making sure that education is paid first, if you will. So as we look at the cuts, we've tried to keep education funded where we thought it needed to be before all this started. So I'm very hopeful that we'll stave off any major cuts to education or any department, particularly education. And then looking into the next years, I do think that the idea is still that this is a long-term recovery. Though we have seen some really impressive job growth nationally in the last month, I think more than we all expected. This is we have a potential for a second wave, which people talk about all the time, and that will prolong this. So while I'm feeling good about where things are right now, I'm also definitely cognizant of the fact that we've got a long way to go, and there's still a lot of risks that exist. So with that out of the way, I did want to kind of touch on, I think a lot of you small business owners will be interested to, if you haven't already, to learn about our Back to Business grant program that the state recently passed. It was one of the first things we did when we came back from the break. So we adjourned in March as a precaution for coronavirus and cleared the Capitol out for 2 months, and then returned whenever the CARES Act money was paid from the federal government. So Mississippi was a recipient of $1.25 billion from the federal government to address coronavirus-related issues. We got fairly broad discretion over how we could spend that, but it had to be spent on, on areas that were affected by coronavirus, directly related to coronavirus response. It had to be spent by the end of the fiscal, or the end of the calendar year. and it could not be used to fill budget shortfalls. So that was something that we had all kind of hoped that the federal government would provide some coverage there, but they didn't, and that's okay. We adapted, and we made some really, I think, made some really monumental strides in handling the coronavirus response and how we've spent this money. So the biggest chunk of it that we've allocated so far was $300 million for small businesses. We did this in 2 different programs. One is called the Back to Business Grant Program, and that gives any business with 0 to 50 employees, as long as you're a registered business in Mississippi that was impacted by coronavirus, and you've got 0 to 50 employees, you could qualify for up to $25,000 in straight grants. These are not forgivable loans. There's no follow-up like with the PPP to apply for forgiveness. These are 100% grant, a grant-based program, and it's based on either the number of employees, so you can either apply and you get a base of $1,500 just for applying and getting approved, and then $500 per employee, or you can itemize, and this is as long as you have the paperwork to itemize. My suggestion has always been to everybody that I've kind of counseled through this is to itemize, because you can itemize your rent, utilities, payroll, any coronavirus-related expenses. It can't, again, the federal government won't allow us to use it to plug revenue holes for small businesses either, but you can use it to cover your larger fixed costs. So any mortgage interest, utilities, rent, payroll, any PPE if you purchase, you can itemize that. And that will, again, those are limited to $25,000 per business, but totally forgivable, or totally grant, no paperwork or follow-up after that. And we've seen a great response to that. The first 21 days of the program were reserved for those who did not spend or did not access the PPP grant from the federal government. So there, some businesses have not become eligible yet, but there remains to be a lot of money in that program. We put $240 million of the $300 million directly into that program. And like I said, we've seen an incredible response from businesses. The application process is fairly easy, and I will give you this website now, and if anybody, I guess we can send this out to the participants if anybody needs to get a follow-up, but it's backtobusinessms.org. And again, the application process is very easy. Simply go online, fill it out, and then you'll get a response, and those grants are currently being funded. So the first 21 days is limited to those who did not receive any federal assistance. And then after that, it's open to everybody. So there is a little bit of a eligibility reduction for those who receive PPP money, but you're still eligible for the grant up to $25,000 with that little reduction caveat in there. So I would strongly recommend any of you who are small business owners apply for that grant. I mean, we would love to see, I would love to see that spent down to 0, because that's money directly back into the Mississippi economy. And I can't personally think of a better way to spend a chunk of money of this size. And I do anticipate that will be the largest allocation out of the CARES Act money to small businesses. So take advantage of that. If I can help any of you with that directly, obviously, in the future, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is all on my Facebook page and my website. Even if I'm not your representative, I'm more than happy to help. I've spent several hours, which is far longer than I'd wanted to, but several hours on the phone yesterday with the Department of Revenue, helping different constituents with their applications or with their, to check the status of their grant, and I'm more than happy to do that. I think that's one of the ways I can be most useful to our constituents right now in this incredibly scary and challenging time, is to just kind of be available and to be a direct line to the powers that be to check on these things. So I know a lot of people have had issues getting through to a lot of different agencies. They're all overloaded, and they're all working as hard as they can to get everything processed. But sometimes it just takes a call from a capital number, unfortunately, to get through to somebody who can help quickly. So again, if any of you do apply for this and have any questions or need assistance, I'm more than happy to help. The other program that we also established through the CARES Act was a automatic check program. We put $60 million of CARES Act money into this program, and it automatically sent checks to all tax-paying businesses in Mississippi who were closed by coronavirus. So that would be restaurants, barbershops, salons, travel agencies, event places, caterers, bars, a lot of different, pretty much anyone who was forced to close by a locality or the state or the federal government or or those who were not forced to close, but were closed due to another closure. So say a photographer, no one was allowed to hold events. So wedding photographer would have no event to photograph. So though the governor did not order that photographers stay home, there was no business for them to do. So those checks have been in process for the last couple of weeks. We've had a little bit of a snag with some of them because the way we appropriated was based off of NAICS codes, and some people I think don't realize whenever they set up, or we didn't realize, I guess, when we made the program that some of those may not always make sense or may not be the natural code we would expect a business to have. So we have made some adjustments. I know there's another round. There was another thing I was working on yesterday was with the Lieutenant Governor's office trying to make sure that all the codes that we needed to be accounted for were accounted for. So I think those checks have continued to send, and again, that's $2,000 that is mailed to the address on file if you're a registered business in Mississippi. And as long as you've paid income taxes one of the last 2 years and intend to pay again or file again in 2020, you're eligible for that check. So if you think that you're eligible for that and you haven't received it, please let me know. Again, I'm up here every day working on this because it's very important to me that if we're going to put a program like this together and put these resources to work for our small business owners, they need to be able to use it and it needs to be able to work. So if you feel like you missed out on that and you need me to check on that, again, I'm happy to share contact information at the end if you don't already have it. And I would love to check on that for you and make sure that we're taking care of it. Another thing that a lot of people have asked about, and I think if you've followed the conversation on Facebook, then you've definitely seen this. And again, me as a small business owner, I can attest to the importance of this, is regarding unemployment taxes due to the amount of money that we've expended from the Unemployment Trust Fund. There's a lot of really scary numbers on Facebook, and like most things on social media, there's a piece of truth to it. We have spent so much money on unemployment checks due to the amount of unemployment in Mississippi due to coronavirus that we've spent a large majority of the money that's in our unemployment trust fund. So what you've probably seen on Facebook is that if we don't address this, and this is true, if we don't address this, the tax raises are automatic. So whenever the unemployment trust fund falls beneath a certain level, and this is the money you pay to MDES every month if you have employees, if you have W-2 employees, when that falls beneath a certain level, automatic tax increases occur. So if you've got, before the coronavirus, it was maxed out. So the lowest rate was 0.2%, which is what most businesses pay if they haven't had an incident on their account recently. Without the money in there to trigger that low level, the tax goes up to 5.4%. So that's a huge increase on your total payroll cost. So we're looking at, I costed it out for my business just so I could have an idea, and it was even a business of my size that's been around for 8 years now, we would be done. I mean, there would be no way we could sustain that. So I don't say that to scare you. I say that to assure you that we understand the gravity of this, and this is absolutely something that we're going to address before this happens. So whether or not it's, I've seen numbers all over the place between $770 million are needed, $500 million are needed. Whatever the number is, we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen. So please know, again, I know it's hard. I laugh whenever I say this, that it's rare that you can really feel confident that the government is going to take care of a problem before it becomes a problem. But this is a problem of such magnitude, and there are so many of us up here who understand how important it is. We will absolutely take care of this before it gets to the point that we're seeing the tax increases, which have been estimated up to a 950% increase in the current tax rate. So I know I've gotten a lot of questions about that from constituents, and I wanted to assure all of you that we are working on that. Without going into too much detail, I did, since Chad mentioned it, this is kind of shifting gears a little bit. I did want to talk to all of you about the Learn to Earn Act, just because I'm proud of it, and I worked really hard on it this year, and I think it will be a really good thing for communities all over the state. And Chad gave a great explanation, so again, I don't have to say much, but it was, as he mentioned, my first bill to pass. It's a apprenticeship and internship bill that basically adds back apprenticeships and internships into elective curriculum. in schools across the state. So it allows districts to work with local businesses. And this may, some of you small business owners, this may interest you for when the program goes live. It allows local districts to work with small businesses to establish approved internships and apprenticeships that students can participate in and earn credit for school. So elective credit, they still have to get their normal, this is technical terms, I guess, but normal amount of Carnegie units for other classes. But with the electives, instead of loading up on electives that they may just be in to get through the day, they can sign up for an elective, say a carpentry apprenticeship. It would be offsite with a business that already is established in the community, no additional resources needed from the school district. And if that apprenticeship is a paid apprenticeship, the student can earn money while they're completing the apprenticeship. So it really is a win-win. I see it as a win-win for everybody. The student is getting valuable experience on the job with a established business in the community. They may be earning a paycheck while they do it. And that business can also work with somebody that they can coach through the process. So if you start with a carpentry apprentice when they're in 9th grade or 10th grade, or whenever would be reasonable for that, you could actually have them go through that program throughout high school. And then when they graduate, you've got somebody working for your business that you've known for years, that you've trained the way you want them to work. And it's a natural pipeline. We see this on the coast some at the shipyard. Ingalls has a shipbuilding academy that they've built and partnered with a school district on the coast to put on. And that's an amazing opportunity for students on the coast. But that's a huge scale business doing something great that we may not have in every community across the state. So this is something a little bit more accessible for everybody. I don't think there are any, just in talks with superintendents across the state, I don't think there are any districts who don't see some use with this. And again, it's based all on what the locality can handle. So, what works in Lamar County may not work in Itawamba County. So those local districts are responsible for making that decision and making those connections with people in their community. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick mention of that because I think it's a great opportunity for our small businesses and our students. And if any of you, in this group want to learn more about that or want to know whenever that program is live so that you can apply and maybe participate as a business, I'm happy to talk to you about that as well after today. So kind of shifting gears again, like I said at the beginning, I'm up here, working as a legislator, but also what I really know is owning a small business. And what I've done, I've only been up here for 6 months, and it's been such a crazy 6 months that I don't know that I'll really retain much after this session's over. But I have been a small business owner for the last 8 years in the Hattiesburg community, and I've enjoyed every bit of that. Just from just being involved in Hattiesburg, and you all know this, Hattiesburg is such an amazing place to live, to work, to own a business, and to be a part of a community that really appreciates that. And the last 8 years have been, it's definitely not easy. I mean, you can all attest to that. It's not easy to own a business, but it is extremely rewarding, especially in a community like this with the resources that we have and the people that we serve. But I can tell you, and I know all of you agree with this, just speaking to you personally, the last couple of months have been extremely tough. And I don't know any small business owner that would not agree with that. So, just looking at what we've seen, I mean, we were coming off of, like I said, we've been in business 8 years, and we're very fortunate to never have a month that we didn't grow year over year until March, and then April, and then May. And June is looking to be a little bit better, but the last 3 months have been tough, and there's no way to prepare for that. I mean, we've all had to make, I don't know that there's anybody in this group that wouldn't say they've made had to make some very hard decisions over the last couple of months. And there's really no, there's not really been anything that I can say made the difference for us. It's just, it's hard times, and we've adapted as best we can. One of the things that we did that I think a lot of businesses have kind of done as well is to shift. We're a coffee business, and people love coffee and people drink coffee, but if people aren't leaving their houses, they're not going to go get coffee at a drive-thru, they're going to make it at home. So we had an e-commerce website set up, and if I'm sure a lot of you have done this. If you're not working on it now, you've probably already done this at this point. But we did set up we had our website set up, and we really shifted. We tried to pivot as quickly as possible online. So we added a local delivery option. to all of our online orders so that people didn't have to come to the store to pick up. We do ship, and we've expanded what we sell online. And that has made a huge deal. And one of the things that I think we've really, I mentioned the Hattiesburg community being so strong and so rewarding, a place to live and work. But one of the things we did early on was we designed a new T-shirt, and we didn't think, we thought we'd maybe sell 50, 100 T-shirts or whatever. $20 a shirt. We did 4 colors, and we did it as a pre-order because we were struggling for cash at that point. To be frank with all of you, that was where we were at. And so we did the pre-order in, I think, in March or April, and we sold over 500 of those shirts for $20 a piece. And that was, I joked with our managers. We had our meeting, and one of the managers who brought it up, whose idea it was, I said, I want y'all to know this idea is what carried us through March and April. Without this, I don't know, it took us a while to get our PPP, and once we got it, or it took everyone a while to get their PPP. Once we could apply, we got it almost immediately. But even then, it had been weeks of just overnight the business fell. So that was a huge thing for us to do, and that the support from the community on that, because your people remember, customers remember that you bought that ad, knowing that you were not going to sell any coffee based on the ad you bought in a program for T-ball. They know that is just something that we do as small business owners to support our communities, and I've been very just pleased and humbled by the response from the community when we've put out things, like the T-shirts. We did another thing with hats recently. The things are improving. We're still not where we were before all this started. So we did a similar thing with the Java Mo's branded hat that we did as a pre-order. We've got some other products coming out this year that we will brand as Java Mo, sell on our website, and do that pre-order local delivery shipping option as this continues, because we're not out of the woods yet, and we're trying to brace for the long term and be smart about where we invest and kind of how we position ourselves to deal with the next. It could be 6 months, it could be, I don't even want to say a year, but it could. We're waiting on certain things to click into place, and until that happens, we're going to keep, all of us are going to keep working at it, and we're all going to just have to adapt to an incredibly insane situation. Another thing that I mentioned, we as small business owners, we also can have each other's backs. We've in our business, we've got 4 locations in Hattiesburg, 2 of which are in hospitals, and then 2 are out in the community. We've tried to support our neighbors. I know whenever, and I hate it because they weren't able to make it work, but our location in Westwood Square was near the rolled ice cream. I can't remember the name now off the top of my head. I'm not an ice cream person, but we as a staff loved their staff, and we loved having it there. So whenever they closed, or temporarily, we tried to get that, get their name out there. They were trying to do a GoFundMe to stay open, and we sent that out to our people. We just tried to promote our local, our neighbors as business owners, because those are, that's all you got as a business owner, is your customers, your staff, and the people that are around you. So you can always support each other and see ways that you can, if you have an audience, try to throw, it doesn't always have to be a competition. Right now, we're all in this together. So try to throw a line to somebody that may be struggling. Maybe their business needs a little bit of extra light shown on it to get through this. So, but I feel for all of you, and I'm with you 100% on this. It's been a really tough year, and I'm glad that we're all still here right now. But I do think that we'll get out of it. We just got to keep plugging along and try to be innovative and think on our feet, and we've got to, I hate to say just roll with it, but that's basically all we can do at this point. So, but again, I don't want to keep going over my time, but I appreciate all of you so much for doing this, and for being here today. And again, just kudos to Dr. Houston and Vanessa for all the work they've done to put this on. And it's an honor to be here. And I appreciate so much the opportunity to talk to all of you about some really important things this year that, that we're facing. And I hope, again, I just wish you all the best of luck as you navigate all this. We're all struggling through it together, but please don't forget that if there's anything I can do to help you with the grant programs or with the Learn to Earn bill, if you're interested in looking at that, or the $2,000 checks that we sent out from the Department of Revenue, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, these programs were designed for you, and if you can't access them, they're not doing you any good, and the impact won't be felt in the community as we intended. So again, thank you all so much for having me. It's been an honor to talk to you today, and I look forward to seeing you all around Hattiesburg. Hopefully I can get that haircut soon to maybe right. Thanks again.
And now we'll have our benediction from Dr. Breeland.
Would you bow with me in prayer before we leave, please? Our Father, how good it has been to gather. Even though we cannot gather face to face in person, we've been able to see others' faces. We've been able to hear others' voices. We have been able to be reminded of what binds us together in community. Father, I ask your blessings on each one who has participated in this event, those who led it and those who took any part. I ask your blessing on each one and on their families, on their businesses, on their communities, their neighborhoods. Father, as we move to the future, help us to know that we do not go alone, but that you are with us and that your Spirit is available to guide us. And we ask for that guidance, and we look to you in trust and hope for all that you do in us and through us, for your name's honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.